All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Orange County Emergency Operations Center. We have a lot of information to cover this afternoon since we didn't do a press event yesterday. Joining me today, I have Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer. We have Division Chief Laura Avery from our emergency operations. We have Mr. Charles Williams from FEMA. We will be joined shortly by Dr. Maria Vasquez, the Superintendent of Orange County Public Schools. We have Ms. Janice Moran from the American Red Cross, and we also have Sharon Arroyo from Duke Energy. We're going to cover a lot of those different issues facing our community. As we start today, I do want to alert you to the fact that I just signed an extension of the executive order declaring a state of emergency here within Orange County. This, of course, allows us the flexibility to be more nimble in our abilities to provide services, resources, and support for our residents. Our Orange County Public Works, Utilities, and our Family Services team have been really working around the clock tirelessly to make certain that families within our communities, especially those who have been impacted the most, where they have had to leave their homes, they're in need of food and other life-sustaining supplies. I'm pleased to report the fire rescue teams have not reported any storm-related rescues in the past 2 days, and I view that as a bit of good news. Also, I'm relieved at this point to report that there were no deaths reported at this point in Orange County that are associated with the storm. But we are still experiencing a significant flooding, which is causing more people to possibly evacuate their homes, and we will still have streets and intersections closed due to the excessive standing of water throughout our community. Some of our top priorities that we're focused on within the next few days includes keeping our residents safe, providing resources and assistance for anyone in need, and thirdly, doing everything possible to get services up and running. I'm pleased to report that all of our traffic signals are now functioning throughout the county. There are still 5 roads in Orange County that are closed due to flooding. They are Rouse Road north of Buck Road, Reams Road, Lake Eleanor Drive, Lake Underhill at the Econ Trail, and Buck Road west of Rouse Road. I want to also remind everyone that we are a FEMA-designated county, which enables our residents to register to get help with disaster assistance from the damage caused by a tropical storm Ian. You're going to hear in just a few moments from Mr. Charles Williams from FEMA. But at this point, what they are reporting is that FEMA has 18,431 Orange County residents who have registered for the FEMA disaster assistance. For assistance, you can simply go to FEMA.gov for more information. There is currently 1 shelter operating in Orange County with just under 100 evacuees. This shelter is located at the South Econ Recreation Center and is pet-friendly and handicap accessible. We do anticipate more people to evacuate to the shelter as the water continues to crest within our community, which creates more flooding. Cresting is what occurs when the rainfall recedes into the rivers, causing the river waters and the lake beds to overflow. We thank the American Red Cross and the Salvation Army for their assistance in operating the current shelters that remain open. The Red Cross and the Salvation Army are instrumental in assisting our family services employees in getting food and water to flood-stricken areas. 240 hot meals were delivered this morning in the Orla Vista area, and we are efforting more ways to assist those coping with the flooding. Now, let me just thank our Orange County commissioners. They have been working with our teams of support staff going out into the community. Commissioner Siplin, Moore, and Uribe have been working tirelessly with our staff to provide food and water in areas such as Bunny Brook, Trailer Park, Taft, the Gulf Stream Mobile Home Park, and in Northwest Orange County in the Rock Springs Mobile Home Community, and at the Hope Community Center in West Orlando. Now let me just talk a little bit about the debris removal. We realize that the storm has created more debris than normal within our community. In response to Hurricane Ian, Orange County Public Works has initiated the county's monitoring and debris removal contracts. This is where we bring in extra teams of contractors to help remove the debris from alongside our roadways. The contractors are hired by Orange County to haul away large amounts of debris. That means a large amount of debris that is too big for normal yard waste collection. Detailed plans will be provided soon, including direction when to place items at the curb. This information will be available on our website at ocfl.net/en. Please remember that vegetative debris, which is any green plant, must be separated from other storm-related debris. Leaves and twigs should be separated from normal yard waste and bagged for trash pickup. Residents who live in gated communities should consult with their HOA for direction on where to set the debris and how it will be picked up. I want to talk a little bit now about the impact on our parks and recreation facilities. 2 Orange County recreation centers are closed until further notice. They are the South Econ Rec Center, which is being used as a shelter, and the Silver Star Recreation Center, which is having utility issues. As far as our camping parks, Moss Park is closed until further notice, and the park is underwater and inaccessible at this time. The following parks or trails are closed until further notice: West Beach Park, Blanchard Park, and the Little Econ Trail, Dr. Phillips Park, and I'll talk now about our boat ramps. Orange County is still under a no-wake advisory for all lakes and rivers until further notice. Public boat ramps under the control of the county remain closed. We are asking our residents to please refrain from any recreational activity in the waters and refrain from any contact in or around water bodies at this point. We expect this advisory to be in effect at least through the weekend. Now I'll talk a little bit about animal services. The Orange County Animal Services team has been working around the clock during and after the storm. We had 9 of our staff members who rode out the storm at the shelter with the animals. So God bless them. Fortunately, all of the staff and all of the pets are safe and no water breached the shelter. Unfortunately, we know some families have been separated from their pets during the storm. The Animal Services website has a lost and found a pet forum where people can report if they found or lost a pet. You can find this forum at www.ocnetpets.com. ocnetpets.com. We continue to experience some power outages within our community. You're going to have an opportunity to hear from Ms. Sharon Arroyo with Duke Energy for an update in just a few moments. All OUC customers who lost power due to the Hurricane Ian, OUC is reporting that they have been able to restore all power within their jurisdiction. The remaining individuals without power are those being affected by flood waters or damaged customer-owned electrical equipment, and it will perhaps be some time before we see all power restored. And at this time, I'm going to ask Mayor Buddy Dyer to come up and give you an update from the City of Orlando. Mayor Dyer.
Thank you, Mayor Demings. I want to start by thanking every person in our community that came together to help Orlando and Orange County respond to the storm. This includes our first responders, our government employees, our not-for-profit partners, and our residents who are out there helping their neighbors. The storm brought severe flooding to about a dozen of our residential neighborhoods like we've never witnessed in our lifetime, and it's created unprecedented impacts. Yesterday, we experienced a break in a 36-inch force main, one of our main wastewater pipes that takes sewage out to the Iron Bridge wastewater treatment plant. There was an overflow of sewage resulting from that, in Lake Rowena and some of the lakes that are connected to that. Our Public Works team has been working tirelessly to fix that break, and it should be completely finished by this evening. Until then, we have crews on standby to respond to any backups. This is a part of a larger problem that's created by rainwater and groundwater intrusion that has been overwhelming our wastewater system. Because of that, we're asking our city residents through the rest of today to help us limit the usage of water. So that means flushing toilets, doing laundry, washing dishes, showers, baths, pressure washing, and irrigation system. As a city, we've been doing our part. We've turned off all of our irrigation systems. We're working with residents who experienced flooding into their homes and businesses to help them open for customers. Our inspectors are out in force. They're working proactively in impacted neighborhoods, going door to door. As the water recedes, they're conducting necessary inspections to restore power safely. Those would be the residents and customers that Mayor Demings mentioned that are still without power on the OUC system. The system is up, but there are individual customers that experienced flooding that it was not safe to restore power. We are waiving power restoration, inspection, and permitting fees for those who are impacted, and we are working directly with OUC to restore power as quickly as possible. If your home or building has been impacted, you can schedule an appointment by visiting orlando.gov/Ian Assistance to request that appointment. City crews have started residential debris collection. They'll soon be joined by contractors to aid in that process. It's going to take a little time, so we ask for your patience, but you can assist us by bagging and bundling debris, making sure that the debris is on the curb, not in the street, on the curb, not on the street, and separating yard waste from building materials. This storm has had devastating impacts on our community, and I want to remind everybody out there that you are not alone. Our community is here for you. We are resilient, and we will support each other during the rest of this recovery. Thank you. Superintendent Vasquez.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Maria Vasquez, the Superintendent for Orange County Public Schools, and I'd like to provide a hurricane update and share information to our families and our employees. Returning to a safe learning environment quickly has been our main focus, our priority. All of the schools impacted by the storm have been evaluated by our maintenance and custodial teams, except for Riverdale Elementary School. All of our K through 12 schools will reopen tomorrow, Tuesday, October 4th. They have been deemed safe to reopen. Riverdale Elementary students will not begin until Thursday, October 6th. We have relocated them temporarily to East River High School, and we really appreciate the work of Principal Becky Watson and her team in helping us accommodate the families and the employees from Riverdale to their temporary location. I had the opportunity today to visit Riverdale, and it's much improved from the pictures we saw earlier. The damage is quite extensive and will take some time to repair, but the work that I see that was done has been done very quickly. Many of the items that were not on the floor will be salvageable, and we're looking forward to Riverdale returning in the near future. We will host an open house at East River High School Wednesday from 5 to 7 for our Riverdale families. We will have extracurricular activities resuming in all of our schools tomorrow afternoon. Extended day will also resume at all of our elementary and middle schools. Any missed athletic and extracurricular activities will be rescheduled where possible, and our schools are working diligently to get those rescheduled. We know that our students and their families and some of our employees may need assistance to recover from the storm. So we'd like to remind you that there are lots of resources out there. Our foundation has also set up a Hurricane Ian Relief Fund. If there is anyone out there that would like to aid in the relief efforts, please go to ocps.net and click on the icon Hurricane Ian Relief Fund. As far as makeup days, I know there's lots of families and employees that are inquiring about makeup days. We have not made a decision about that. We are first and foremost waiting on direction from the state to see if they are going to waive any of the days. And once we hear from the state, then we'll be able to decide how many, if any, makeup days we will need to use. There is a list of possible days on the school calendar that's posted on our website, and we do appreciate your patience as we make a decision on the makeup days. I cannot tell you how grateful I am as a superintendent and my staff to our maintenance and custodial teams, to the local utility companies, the county municipalities, and all of the staff who have been working tirelessly day and night to help us reopen our schools tomorrow. Thank you, and now I would like to turn it over to Charles Williams from FEMA.
Good afternoon. I've been asked by the mayor to explain to you the process that you as survivors of the storm should go through. The first process you should do is call your insurance company. After you contact your insurance company, my recommendation is that you go to disasterassistance.gov or go to either Google Store or Apple to download the FEMA app. That will allow you to apply for FEMA aid online with no wait. The third method is you can always dial a 1-800 number. It's 1-800-621-3362. That is a common disaster number that all victims of FEMA disasters can call in, so it will be a wait time. So I'm just want to pre-warn you, there will be a wait time from anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours if you dial in. So I request that, if possible, to go to disasterassistance.gov, and you have no wait time. You can apply for help, and we will be readily available to help you. If you have any questions, please see your local county emergency manager, and they can assist you in our ability to help the community recover back to normal. And I think I'm supposed to turn it over to Duke Energy, and I forgot her name already. I apologize.
Sharon Arroyo, thank you, and good afternoon. So our Duke Energy crews have restored power to nearly 1 million customers since the storm left Florida. We currently have approximately 12,000 customers that still remain without power. 3,000 of those are in Orange County. We expect to have those restored by midnight tonight. There are, however, approximately 200 customers in Orange County that will be restored by tomorrow, and that is due to flooding issues. We want to say we are very grateful to our customers for their patience during this time of restoration. Thank you.
Okay. One of the things that I touched on a little bit, all of our commissioners are out working in the community, but I know that Commissioner Gomez-Cordero was out today and has been out as well working in her community, so I did want to mention that. What we're going to do at this point is open it up for any questions for Spanish-speaking media. If you have any questions, I'm going to ask Ms. Ilia Torres to come forward, and she can do the interpretation for myself or others. But we also have Dr. Karsh, the health officer for the Orange County Department of Health, that is present if there are any questions around any of these health-related alerts. He would be the person who would do that. And then we also have Ms. Diana Almodovar from our Public Works. She's fluent in Spanish, so we can call on her as well. And so with that, we'll open it up for any questions. And we have our emergency managers here in the room. So any really tough questions, we'll go to them with those. All right, so we'll open it up for any questions.
I got a question for Charles.
Charles Williams, so it's FEMA.
Oh, you did a good job. Yes, ma'am.
To your point about folks contacting FEMA, whether through the app or by phone, kind of talk about what the feedback has been so far that you and your team have experienced from folks here that have survived the hurricane.
The feedback that we received from the folks the survivors that have survived the hurricane that I've personally received is they have a very friendly feedback on disastersystem.gov. It's laid out easily. They had no problem using it. The only negative feedback was the wait time and the 1-800 number. That's the reason I want to let the people know there will be a wait. And unfortunately, it's nothing we can do about that. So that's the reason I say plan 30 minutes to 2 hours to be on wait. I know that's a shock to you, but you got to realize this line service all the citizens that have ever been affected by a disaster for the initial input and casework and follow-up. So you have people from California, Puerto Rico, Alaska, Hawaii calling in. So if you have to call in with your number, Charles' opinion, call in at after 2 a.m. in the morning. That's the low peak time. It's just like everything else when you look on the internet. You have your peak time. The peak time for that line is normally between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. So if you call in a normal business day, you will have that long wait.
And then just a quick follow-up question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they need any documentation whether they use the app or to call in?
Okay, the documentations that required is on the application. The major one there is an insurance determination. So if you have homeowners insurance, you need to get the determination from your insurance company of what they're covering and that you have coverage. The other one is your social security number and your proof of ownership of vehicles if you claim you lost a vehicle, and your proof of ownership of your home or a rental agreement. But the application itself on disastersystem.gov lists all those documentation you need even before you start the process. They say, hey, here's your checklist. You need these documents before you even start. You're welcome, ma'am.
Question for Mayor Dennis. Why has it taken 5 years to improve the infrastructure in Orla Vista?
It's a complicated set of events there in Orla Vista. It's a 60-year-old community, and so it didn't get the way it is now overnight. It's been some time, but we're very, very committed. It's a costly fix just because of how the community is built, and so the question is always who's going to pay for those improvements that's needed. And so we have a plan of action to go in and rectify. So that's the simple answer. It takes time.
About Orla Vista, some people in the community have said that you all said you're working on it. They want a little bit more concrete answers. Is there any specific detail you can give the community about what you all are doing to prepare to fix that problem area?
We have over time been communicating with the Orla Vista community. So we didn't start, just before the storm, or we didn't start after the storm. Those community meetings have been underway, and the residents who've been there for some time, they fully are aware. What we're trying to do is accelerate that process at this point. And I go back to something I said the other day. There's no storm system that could have handled the enormity of what happened with Ian here. It's a once in 100+ year phenomena. The flooding that happened in Orla Vista is not necessarily unique to Orla Vista. We see it across the county. We see it across the entire state of Florida. And so it's not unique in that regard. What is perhaps more unique is that it was fairly recent since the last time that it flooded. But I will tell you that the flooding this time is worse than the last time, and the magnitude of it is something that has caused concern for all of us here in Orange County from a governmental perspective. And so just from the health, safety, and well-being of those residents, we made it a priority. And so while we're still yet responding to the effects of this hurricane, it in order to expedite that, it requires a lot of deliberate planning to get the resources moving in there. And so the engineers and all of those who are the experts in that regard still have to meet and figure out how to expedite that. So it's just, that's the answer that I'm going to have to give you at this time. It's, okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Vasquez, I have a question for you. For
Dr.
families who are
Vasquez.
in the flood-prone areas and they're worried about transportation to schools because their kids might have lost things or cars might be damaged. Is the school helping in any way? And are you guys getting help from the Department of Education?
So all of our bus drivers drove the routes the other day, and our managers drove again today, and all of our bus stops are safe. We are communicating with our parents to let them know to walk the area where the children would normally take the route to ensure that there isn't any debris or anything that would impede them from that. If any families are having any issues, we have given them contact information. Many of them are communicating with the principals or their teachers at their school. We've also said that if some of them have left, they're with family outside of Orange County, all of those will be excused absences, and we'll work with them to be able to make up the work.
Question for Mayor Dyer.
Yep.
Do you have, with the sanitary sewer system currently backed up, do you have any ballpark estimate for how many residents might have experienced sewage overflow on their properties?
I don't know. I do know that some have. It isn't a great number. The largest volumes of wastewater that has been expelled was actually at the wastewater treatment plants. You probably saw some video of the aeration tank overflowing. So, but there has been some overflows, and Lake Rowena has certainly been impacted, and it's connected to a couple other lakes. So, I would certainly be mindful and careful around there.
And just a quick follow-up for any community that kind of has that problem, is there any, we've heard from some folks who are concerned about like how long the contamination might last. Like, is there any advice that anyone could provide to ensure that maybe the yard is safe, that bacteria is cleared up?
So we are cleaning up where we are having spills, is what I can tell you on that.
Do you think the water system
We do have Dr. Koch, who is here, who is the health officer assigned to Orange County by the State Department of Health. And why don't I have him kind of talk about some of the health-related aspects, Dr. Koch.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. Floodwater safety in general. First, don't drive in flooded water, okay? Drowning is one of the leading causes of death after a storm. So if you encounter floodwater, don't drive through it, turn around, and don't drown. Floodwaters can be contaminated with bacteria and viruses, so avoid potentially contaminated floodwater and consider all floodwater potentially contaminated. Avoid skin contact with floodwaters, especially if you have open cuts and wounds. Don't wade through standing water. If you do, wash your body and put on clean clothes. If you have an open cut or wound and it comes into contact with floodwater, wash the area well with soap and water. If the area develops redness, swelling, or drainage, seek immediate medical attention. Now, if you're the owner of a well or septic system and your well is covered by floodwater, it's possible that your well has become contaminated. Until the floodwater recedes and you're able to test your well, please avoid drinking, cooking, washing dishes, and making ice with this water. After the floodwater recedes, have your well water tested for bacterial contamination. If you need assistance with this, please contact the Florida Department of Health and Orange County Office of Environmental Health at 407-858-1497. Now, boil water notices can occur after a storm. Please check with your local utility to find out if you're under a boil water notice. If you are required to boil your water, bring your water to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute and then allow it to cool. You should also boil tap water even if it has a filter. And again, the Florida Department of Health is always able to assist. If you need assistance, contact our Environmental Health Office at 407-858-1497. Thank you. Yes?
I was going to ask if there's any specific guidance you could provide for yards, like sewage runoff.
So if your septic system is underwater, it's likely that it won't function properly. If your yard is flooded, minimize your water use to avoid having sewage back up into your home. If the ground is saturated with water, septic systems can't properly function. So after the floodwaters subside, wait a few days before returning to normal household water use to ensure that the system has had an opportunity to properly drain. If you notice that the system isn't functioning after this, contact a licensed septic tank contractor to evaluate it. Yes?
Is the city's water infrastructure going to need an overhaul considering the water usage notice will happen?
Well, I might ask Mr. Torres, are you available?
Can you specify, you're looking for city or county? City or county? Okay.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
So what's the specific question?
Is the city's water infrastructure going to need an overhaul?
The water system has not been impacted at all. It's the wastewater system. And right now we have, at our 3 different wastewater treatment plants, we are operating at over 150% of the rated capacity. So under normal circumstances, it's a great system at 14 inches of water and saturation levels that we had experienced even before the storm. We get intrusion into the wastewater system. So it's great 99% of the time.
So you say it's going to affect by tonight, but what about the homes that have been impacted? So what is the recommendation for them? They have to boil the water or?
No, it's any impact. I suspect that there are some homes that had some sanitary sewer backups at their toilets or their showers. So obviously they're going to need to clean that up. There may be some homes that have some wastewater that has come into their yards. So I would avoid that until, let it go for a few days.
And is there any recourse that residents can take as far as like getting that, like the yards resodded? Again, people are concerned about like bacteria. Like, is there any assistance available, funding assistance, or is that just kind of on the residents to resolve if their yard's been contaminated by a sewage system?
I don't know that we have any funding related to that. I don't know if that's a FEMA related thing, but I don't think so. So I think the resident is probably on its own.
One last question. We have a text from online. Any last questions?
Let me just get the Red Cross in to kind of talk about what is available in the way of some assistance that they're providing.
Thank you. First, I would like to say thank you so much to the City of Orlando, Orange County, all of our communities for welcoming over 1,400 Red Cross workers to the area to be working this disaster across the state. And trust me, there will be hundreds, if not thousands more over the course of this response, which is going to take, I think we all know, across the state and here, months to come. But I think here we're recovering pretty quickly. Thanks to our great partners and utilities. What I would like to say is that we are here for you and we are here with you, okay, to all of our communities. Please reach out to 1-800-RED-CROSS or go to redcross.org. So if you have any questions about services, even if your home was not impacted by the hurricane, this was a very traumatic experience for so many. And even if their home was not impacted, they can still call the Red Cross. We have licensed mental health clinicians that can, possibly help through the process, as well as many other resources. So I do ask that you visit the site or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. I have been asked many inquiries about how people can help with the Red Cross with this disaster. Again, you can go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED Cross. You can help out financially with a financial donation. Not everybody can do that, but they still want to help. You can volunteer your time. And still, some people don't have the time to do that, but they still want to help. So share our social media, our posts, to get the word and message out so that we can continue to help more and more people. Thank you.
All right, if there are no other questions, thank you all. One written? Okay. All right.
Geared towards utilities.
Ed Torres, come on up.
From Steve Hudak, safety EP reports show Orange County Utilities wastewater lift stations struggle to keep up with the heavy rainfall with some spillage. What more can you tell us about the system's performance and how it can be improved?
All right. First, I want to say that we were very fortunate. We did not have any water main breaks or any sewer, major force mains or anything like that, any pipe break. Again, very fortunate for all of our customers and visitors on that front. With regards to the pump stations, as it was discussed earlier, we have had a major storm event, close to a 500-year storm event. That's a 0.2% chance of probability of an event happening in a given year. Imagine that amount of rainfall. And with over 830 pump stations, we were able to maintain most of those running. As you can imagine, the amount of water and power loss was substantial. We were able to send our utility crews in between bands and respond quickly with generators to those sites. And again, out of 830 plus pump stations, we had some minor overflows in some 20 to 30 locations in that in-between time from the time that we lost power and we got the generators there. At this time, there's only 15 pump stations on generators, and all of them are operational, including the Orlo Vista one. We gained power just recently.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all for coming. At some point in the very near future, we'll come back and we'll give you another update. Appreciate your attendance. Thank you all for being here. See us, an entire team of community workers here to make certain that we respond appropriately. Thank you all.